I've been using the Icom IC-705 over the last 2 or 3 years, and I thought it would be interesting just to look back and give my views on the IC-705, particularly as there's been a significant price reduction on this radio. Well, hello once again, and thank you for joining me on the Walters and Stanton video channel. If you're a first-time viewer, well, you're very welcome. My name is Peter Walters, and my ham radio call sign is Golf 3 Oscar Juliet Victor. The subject of this video is the Icom IC-705, and it's particularly relevant, I suppose, because Icom have just reduced the price by £300. That's a big saving. And if you go onto our website, not only have we reduced the price by £300, but we've also got some package deals with 1 or 2 accessories. So check our website for the latest deal we've got on the Icom IC-705. Now, I've been using the IC-705 for several years now, and there's plenty of reviews on the internet on the IC-705, so this is not an in-depth review. It's more a case of my own personal experience with the IC-705, how I use it, how I've enjoyed using it, and in the process it may give you a few ideas as to whether or not this radio is suitable for you. So first of all, let's take a look at how I package my radio up when I go out portable or when I go static mobile. This is my current portable setup that I take around with me. Got it in a soft case here. This is the IC-705, of course. And you'll notice I've got a little bolt in the bottom there. In actual fact, you can take the earth bolt off and screw it in there, and it gives you a tilt stand. Here's my rather makeshift key. It's a high mount key mounted on a bit of wood, but it works okay. It's cheap and cheerful, but it works. And then I've got a DC lead. The one end has got a cigar plug on, because I can plug it into my van or the car, and that will give me, of course, 10 watts instead of the 5 watts from the internal battery. And then finally, I've got the Icom microphone, which seems to work pretty well. The microphone has 2 plugs. The one on the left is actually the audio from the microphone, and the one on the right is audio from the speaker and the radio. So if you plug that one in, you cut the speaker out and the audio comes out of the microphone, which is quite a handy feature actually. The radio itself has a nice solid feel to it, and it's very well built. I like the screen. If you are familiar with the Icom IC-7300, then you'll be familiar with the screen. It's got a nice layout. There's an awful lot of information actually on the screen. You can actually change the screen to some extent and what's present on the screen, but there's an awful lot of information. It's very easy to go into menu to adjust audio, mic gain and CW speed, etc, etc. That feature is very good. I also like the fact that it's got a front-facing speaker. That is very useful, and it means to say that you've got some nice clean audio. But as I mentioned earlier, you can switch the audio so it comes through the actual microphone itself rather than the speaker, which is perhaps handy if you're in a noisy environment and you want to hold the microphone to your head. Of course, you can alternatively put a headset in. That will be the other alternative. And because you've got 2 input sockets for the audio out and the mic in, you can quite easily arrange to have a headset for use if you want to operate in that manner. All the external connections are on the side of the radio, both ends. Got a BNC there, very easy to adapt that to an SO239. You've got a ground bolt on the side there. You also got an SD card slot so that you can update the radio. And then on the other end, you've got the DC inputs. You've got inputs for data and for your CW key, etc. And on CW, by the way, it works extremely well. And then on the rear, you've got your battery, which can be quickly removed. You can charge the battery in situ just by plugging in an external 12-volt supply. And that battery seems to last pretty well. But I find I got a day's use out of it actually, so you probably don't need an extra battery, but if you wish, obviously you can purchase one. I found the menu system particularly easy to use. It's very well laid out, and it's very easy to read the various sections and scroll up and down to the various sections to make changes. You can do a lot of changes on the IC-705 to make it suit your own purpose, and that's part of the attraction of the IC-705, I think. The radio touchscreen means you can change the meter from power to VSWR to ALC, etc. And if you touch on the panoramic display, you can quickly tune to a particular station. A very useful display you can select is having all the meter readings on the display, the power, ALC, SWR, etc. You can also carry out a VSWR scan across the band you're operating on to see the curve. I've gone into the menu system to select the VSWR. I'll press the button and you get the VSWR. Press it again to clear it and press it again to see the VSWR. It's obviously very good right across 20 metres on my half-size G5 RV. So let's plug it into an aerial and switch it on.
Papa Uniform Golf, Oscar November 3, Papa Uniform Golf, QSL. Okay, Papa Uniform Golf, Oscar November 3, Papa Uniform Golf, correct, no problem. You are in the log, 1 point for you for the millimedia, QSL. QSL, thank you very much, your 5973.
Southend information, Papa at time 1050, runway in use, 23. Hotel Uniform, Foxtrot, clear to lead, control airspace CFR, not above 2,400.
Control airspace CFR, not about 2,400, pick up Foxtrot, climbing altitude 2,000.
Part of that new generation? No. So Sizewell C is one of the old sort of gigawatt, the big ones. What you're referring to is something called small modular reactors.
You know, I've got several QRP transceivers, but I keep going back to the IC-705. Is it because that was the most expensive transceiver, so I need to justify using it? Or is there another reason? The Xiegu 6100, which I've had for about 2 years now, that's about half the price of the IC-705. It's got a built-in antenna tuner. It's got a built-in battery. And it covers the HF bands, 160 metres to 6 metres. All modes. It feels well built. So why do I keep going back to the Icom IC-705? Well, I think because I enjoy using it. I grant you that it's more expensive than a lot of other radios, but you know, with the cost of the radio comes certain attractions. Now, you may or may not regard these as attractions worth paying for. Some will agree with me, some will disagree. But the IC-705 is a nice solid radio. It's heavier than the Xiegu 6100, but on the other hand, it does feel really solid and well built. Now, it's got a touch screen. A lot of the QRP radios don't have touch screens. And in that respect, it's much more like a base station transceiver, but it's very handy to be able to press an item quickly rather than have to go through a menu system. If I want to change this or that, to change the meter reading, I just touch the screen. So that makes it very attractive. And the screen actually is easy to read in bright sunlight. I don't have a problem with that at all. And it's a large screen. And I do actually appreciate large screens these days because with my eyesight I find that a large screen is much more usable than a small screen. The Xiegu 6100 is a compact transceiver, and it has a built-in antenna tuning unit, which the Icom doesn't have. Now, I did a video about this very recently, so I'm not going to go on about whether or not it should have an ATU built in. The fact is, it doesn't have an ATU built in or an antenna matching system built in, but very often you don't need it. I tend to operate resonant antennas, so the fact that there's no antenna matching system in there doesn't really bother me. Others will disagree. But you know, there's another angle on radios, and that is that there is some sort of, I don't know how to describe it, comfort factor in operating a simple basic radio. And I've enjoyed using the Zigo 6100. I keep going back to that because that's currently available and it's a fairly attractive price. And I have enjoyed that because there's some sort of comfort in using a fairly basic transceiver and having to do one or two sort of memory sort of button presses to change this and change that. But once you get used to it, you get used to it. It's like a modern camera. You can spend 2 or 3 weeks probably trying to work out the menu system. Once you've cracked it, you feel a bit more comfortable. And the same with the Zigo. I have enjoyed using it. I have used the internal antenna matching unit, and it works well. It's enjoyable to work. And if I wanted a really compact transceiver to take with me, I probably would go for the Zigo. But if weight and size was not a problem, I would go for the IC-705. Now, of course, the IC-705 has other advantages, of course. It covers 2 meters and 70 sims. And in that respect, you could use it quite happily as a moderately powered mobile transceiver for 2 and 70. It worked quite well. Plug a mobile whip into it, it'll work well. You could almost use it as a handheld, because you can lock the frequency, but it needs a fairly large hand to actually hold it as a handheld. But it works. It fulfills a number of exercises. It also, if you're an aircraft fan or you like to go to air shows, you've got one of those in the car, you can tune into the local tower frequencies and hear what's happening. So another advantage there. I know Zigo now got the 6200, which covers the airband. I haven't actually tested it really on the airband, but I have to say that the Icom 705 is actually very sensitive on the airband. It gives very, very good performance. And of course, you do have the advantage of the panoramic display. So if you set it up correctly, you can spot the local strong signals, i.e. tower approach and all the other things and so forth. So in that respect, it's quite a handy transceiver to have. I suppose in summary, it's a QRP base station in as much as it's got lots and lots of features on it which you would expect to have on a base station. And yet, it's a portable radio. You can put it in the car, put it in the glove box, put it in your, well, so you can't put it in your pocket, but you can put it in a small case and travel all over the world with it, or go on holiday with it, whatever you want to do with it. It's like having a base station, albeit the power is only 10 watts or 5 watts. I've often used it as 5 watts on its internal battery. The other thing I do find with some of the smaller transceivers, and this applies to Zigo, is if you were operating extensive CW, they do get quite hot. It's never fouled on me, it gets quite hot. So I wouldn't recommend it for FT8. But otherwise, the Zigo is a fine little transceiver. Now, we come back to the price, of course. The IC-705 has come down in by £300. Why has it come down? Well, I think Icom are very well aware that YESA are about to release the FTX transceiver, the FTX-1 field, which is very similar to the IC-705 in terms of what it can do. And, of course, the Optima, which is the unit with the addition of a 100-watt PA which plugs into the back of it. So Icom have obviously reduced the price because they see the FTX as a competitor. Now, Icom will know an awful lot about the FTX transceiver. They will know more than you or I know about it. They will have been aware of the development of this back in Japan probably for over a year or so, because the jungle drums send messages backwards and forwards. So Icom almost certainly would have been aware of the FTX coming along, and they'll also be aware of the differences. I guess that Yaesu will have been able to build on the success of the 705, identify certain areas which they think they can improve on, and I suspect the front end of the receiver will be very, very good indeed. So all in all, one would hope that the FTX will be perhaps an improvement on the IC-705. But do you need that improvement? Now that's down to you. Can you justify spending more money for the FTX to get the better receiver? Many of you can. I mean, I used to be very interested in photography, and I used to spend a lot of money on cameras. And really and truly, when I look back, I could have got the same pictures with a cheaper camera. But I enjoyed the cameras that I had. They did all sorts of wonderful things. And to me, the enjoyment was the value for money. And I think we're in the same situation with the IC-705 and the FTX, which probably will land now early July in the UK. And I think the IC-705 is a great transceiver, and it may well do all that you want it to do, in which case the IC-705 is for you. On the other hand, if you want something like the Yaesu FTX, which almost certainly will have a slightly better receiver and probably one or two gizmos that we haven't actually appreciated yet, then it justifies the extra money. And only you can decide. And some of you will say, well, rubbish to all this. I'm quite happy with my G90, which cost me £399. Great, yeah, it's great. It's a great transceiver. It doesn't do a lot of the things that the IC-705 does, but it does have a built-in antenna tuner, and it does have 20 watts. So what I'm saying really is, the transceiver that's right for you is the one that's right for you, the one that you can afford, the one that you can justify spending the money on. It's that simple. So there we are. Going back to the IC-705, it's a great transceiver. I love it. I've used it extensively. It's never let me down. It's very easy to operate. It's like having a base station, only it's just 10 watts. Oh, and it doesn't cover 4 meters, which I think the FTX will cover 4 meters. But there we are. Again, another little choice to make up your minds whether it's for you or not for you. As usual, thank you for your support on this channel. Much appreciated. You take care. Enjoy your ham radio. And if you are in the market for the FTX, get in touch with us. We'll surely do a deal, I'm sure, and do some great part exchanges as well. Bye for now. Take care. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.